All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show. So what I'm going to call this podcast is Hold Yourself Accountable. And if you listen to any of my previous podcasts or watch any of my YouTube videos, I'm always talking about not giving yourself the pass. I'm also talking a lot about don't take yourself so seriously. I also say a bunch of other shit too. So it's whatever I feel sometimes about a certain subject is kind of what I talk about. And I even catch myself saying one thing at one time and then saying another thing another way another time. And sometimes it's almost like I'm arguing with myself. But in this case, what I kind of grew up in was a lot of people telling me, do as I say, not as I do. And I find that really extremely interesting. And I think a lot of us go through this, where we hold other people accountable for their behavior, but we don't want to hold ourselves accountable for our own. And, I think we do this with our kids a lot, which I think, I can say that as far as me. I want my kids to live a certain lifestyle and present themselves a certain way. And then on the flip side, I could tell you, I don't hold myself accountable for a lot of my own behavior. Especially even on social media, my language, my actions, the way I even treat people. And it was just to give you a heads up, the other day I was with my daughter, and I sometimes get, lately I just don't have a lot of patience for bullshit. So I want to just cut right to it. And I started saying, I didn't realize how harsh it may have been. It wasn't even towards her, it was towards someone else. And I think she yelled, either you're being mean or you're being an asshole. I think mean. That sounds more like her. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And I said, wow, the way, I don't want to be addressed a certain way. People talking to me, especially talking down to me, or making me feel a certain way a lot of times. Now, that's going to happen, let's face it. But, at the same time, I'm telling them how to maybe carry themselves, respect others' opinions, don't call people names. Even stuff as an adult, we still do. Don't get aggravated. And then all of a sudden I find myself being really the complete opposite of what I'm telling them to be. And I see this with a lot of people. It's not easy, man. I'm telling you. So really in this podcast, I'm not even going to make it long by any means, but I just think sometimes if we get more self-aware, and I talk about this all the time, a lot of the shit we spew and things we preach about, we really don't live. And I see this with a lot of people I know that are actually, it could be public speakers, people I know that are involved with, say, fitness, or involved with business, involved with social media, involved with all these things, are always kind of telling others a lot of times what to do. And a lot of times they're not even implementing their own teachings. I'm not saying they have to, but a lot of the shit they're saying is bullshit. And, you got to really, trim right through it a little bit, but you also got to look at your own bullshit, because I really don't think a lot of people do it. I've even done previous podcasts where I think it was called Call Yourself Out on Your Own Bullshit, because sometimes it just gets overwhelming. And also I was thinking about doing a podcast. I'm trying to think something that will fall under this category, which was you're not always the solution to the problem. And I think sometimes a lot of us think we have the answers or all the answers. And maybe sometimes we don't. But a lot of times we think we know what we're talking about, or we know what the right answer is. And the truth is, most of us don't usually. We're kind of just bullshitting ourselves or others. If you truly are knowledgeable about something, for sure, obviously give advice. But if you don't, then shut up. Or find somebody who really does know what they're doing. And I think a lot of us shortcut things again. It's just kind of, a lot of times we're just, I should say, hurting ourselves instead of helping ourselves, especially when it comes to other people. And it could be as easy as saying you can fix something that you can't, or saying you're going to do something that you don't. Again, hold yourself accountable. And I see this a lot too with people that kind of go back and forth that, let's just say, on a text, they text somebody, they a lot of times want them to respond quickly or a certain amount of time, and they get aggravated if they don't. But on the other end, I see that same person that I'm texting, they don't respond either a lot of times. Could be an email, could be a callback. So again, all these things kind of come in play, and if you quit worrying about I shouldn't say what others are doing and really look at yourself, but yeah, kind of become, and I talked about it a lot of times, become not self-centered in a bad way, but really self-centered to figure out your own way. And a lot of things you may be doing, saying again, may not be right. I'm just telling you. And again, if you make mistakes, maybe you should apologize, or maybe understand that you did something incorrectly and you should address that, not I call it putting your head in the sand and pretending you're like an ostrich. Where I see tons of people, again, talk about not holding themselves accountable, especially for work or in relationships or many different things, where they make a mistake and all of a sudden they just disappear. And the truth was, a lot of times they didn't even know what they were doing in the first place, so they were kind of faking it. So I don't want to get super long-winded here, but just kind of really pay attention to those things. And again, hold yourself accountable. If you're going to hold somebody else, I don't care if it's your kids, whoever you're in a relationship with, fellow colleagues, friends, nobody's perfect. But if you want somebody else to, behave towards you a certain way or do things correctly, a lot of times you may not be doing them either. That's what I should say. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, check out my YouTube channel. I've been putting up a lot of different things on there, mainly with men. The last few days or last week's been more fashion-driven. I would say more than anything. I'm always throwing fitness stuff in and out of there. So if you want to check that out, I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, take care. If you got any questions or comments, hit me up. You agree, disagree. And, that's all I got for you. Take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.